Hello again, it's Charles Montgomery from www.ktlit.com with another 300 seconds on. And that is why I have the timer, so I don't go over 300 seconds, 5 minutes. Today's 300 seconds on is on the Asia Publishers 15-volume collection of translated Korean fiction. This is a truly excellent collection of short stories which have both the Korean version and the English version side by side, as well as biographical information about the authors, and then some critical analysis, which if we have time I'll talk about because it's kind of funny. The collection includes The Land of the Banished, The Man Who Was Left as 9 Pairs of Shoes, the coming-of-age story Chinatown, Our Friend's Homecoming, A Record of a Journey to Mujin, Poor Man's Wife, The Last of Hanako, The Place Where the Harmonium Was by famous author Shin Kyung-suk, Human Decency, Mother's Stake 1, The Road to Sampo, Soul of Darkness, Suni Samchan, a story in Jeju, The Wounded by Lee Chong-jun, The Poet of Wanmi-dong, and those 15 books basically represent 3 different categories for this collection. The first category is the division, the area of division, and 5 of the books are about division. The second category is industrialization, and again, 5 of the books are about industrialization. And then the third category is about women. They actually have taken a section of these and dedicated it to women's fiction and fiction about women. And a couple of representative stories are Suni Samchon. This is a really excellent story. This has been translated once before, and it was one of the worst translations that I had ever seen. So it's really welcome to have this. This is a story, Jeju, sometimes called the Korean Hawaii, is an island that people don't think much about when they think about Korean history, but during right after colonialization and just before the Civil War in Korea, it was a place where there was an awful lot of conflict between the left and the right, and Suni Samchon tells that story. One of the very famous stories that is about industrialization is The Road to Sampo. This is a story that follows 2 workers and a bar woman who are trying to go home. They would like to go home to a more traditional home, and this is the story of them sort of meeting up on the road and deciding to band together to go as far as the station, where they will then separate and each try to find their own home. And then in terms of women's fiction, a very, very famous author, everybody knows Shin Kyung-suk. Shin Kyung-suk is famous for her work Omaru Putake, or in English, Please Look After Mom, or Please Look After Mother in the United Kingdom. And that was a book actually that really didn't do it for me so much because it was kind of Amy Tan type chick lit women's fiction, and that's just not really what I'm fond of. But The Place Where the Harmonium is the same kind of story, but much shorter, better drawn, characters that made more sense to me. And one of the things you might notice about all of these is that they're very, very slender volumes, which means the comparison I make is to, if you've been to Seoul, it's like taxis. There's a lot of them. If you don't like one, just ignore it and go on to the next one. Why am I standing with my back to the camera? To show you how small these books are. You ever wonder what your rear pocket's for? Your rear pocket is for Korean fiction. Did that remind you of Steve Jobs? Because I was trying to remind you of Steve Jobs.
You ever wonder what this pocket's for? Well, now we know, because this is the new iPod Nano. So,
where can you find these? Well, if you're lucky enough to be in Korea, of course, you can find these at any major bookstore. I should say, if you are looking at a bookstore in Korea, somewhat unaccountably, these books are not in the English language section. They are in the Korean literature section. If you're going to look for these online, they are all available online, and probably the best way to do it is to look for Asia Publishers. You can buy these books in 2 ways. You can buy them individually, or if you decide you want to leap in, you can actually buy the entire collection at the slightly discounted price. These cost around somewhere between $5 and $7, depending on where you get them. Don't pay more. I have seen them on sale for more. So, the Asia Publishers Collection, 15 bilingual stories, a really excellent range, extremely well translated, comes with the critical analysis, although sometimes the critical analysis is a little bit strange. But if you're interested in Korean literature, this is one of the truly excellent places to start, the Asia Publishers Collection, and that is 300 seconds.